In the heart of Nigeria, where the moonlight kisses the earth and the talking drum carries the wisdom of generations, there lived a people whose stories were older than the trees, older than the rivers, older even than the mountains. This is one such story. A story that shook a whole village. A story whispered in fireside gatherings, a story of love, taboo, destiny, and the strange ways of the ancestors. The village was a place of peace and rhythm. The huts were built of red clay, their roofs thatched with palm leaves that rustled softly whenever the evening wind blew. Children ran barefoot across dusty paths, their laughter carrying like the songs of birds. Women fetched water from the stream, balancing clay pots gracefully on their heads, their wrappers tied tightly around their waists. At night, the village would come alive in another way. Elders sat under the moonlight, their voices deep and commanding, as they told stories of tortoises and spirits, of kings and betrayals. The crackling of the fire and the beating of the drum made the stories feel alive. For in that village, stories were not just entertainment, they were warnings, teachings, and wisdom. In this same village lived a young woman, the daughter of a respected man. Her name was Nnenna, beautiful, graceful, and gentle as the morning dew. Her skin was smooth like polished ebony, and her eyes carried both innocence and mystery. From childhood, people had admired her not just for her beauty, but for her kindness. Nnenna helped the elders fetch firewood, played with children without pride, and greeted everyone with warmth. She was known as a woman who would one day make a good wife. Indeed, she had many suitors, but her family waited for the right man, someone from a family of equal honor. The man chosen for her was Obi, the son of another respected family. Obi was hardworking, tall and strong, his presence commanding. He had the pride of youth, but also the humility to respect elders. Their union seemed perfect, a marriage that would unite two families and strengthen the bonds of the community. When the announcement was made, the entire village rejoiced. For days, drums did not stop beating. Palm wine flowed freely. Gifts poured in from relatives and friends. The excitement could not be hidden, for this was not just a marriage of two people, it was a celebration of the whole village. From dawn to dusk, the compound of Nnenna's family was filled with activities. Women pounded yam, roasted meat, and prepared spicy soups. Men brought in palm wine kegs, repaired the roofs of the huts, and decorated the compound with palm fronds, symbols of purity and festivity. Tailors worked tirelessly on colorful attires. Nnenna's bridal dress was made of fine wrapper cloth, decorated with coral beads that glistened in the sun. Obi's agbada, traditional robe, was embroidered with golden threads, and his cap matched perfectly. The air was thick with the scent of roasted goat meat, fried plantain, and fresh palm wine. Songs floated through the air, voices blending with the steady rhythm of drums. But as preparations went on, something unusual began to trouble Nnenna. She would wake at night sweating, her heart beating fast, her eyes wide open from strange dreams. In her dreams, she saw herself holding a baby. She rocked him gently, singing a lullaby in a voice that seemed familiar yet distant. She saw the baby grow into a boy, then into a man. She saw his face, and it was Obi. Every night, the dream returned, stronger and clearer. She remembered things no one had told her: Obi's childhood scar on his left arm, the way he cried for food as a child, the lullabies his late mother used to sing. At first, she dismissed the dreams as anxiety, but deep within her, she felt something heavy, something that tied her to Obi in a way that was beyond this life. Before every marriage, the elders of the village gathered to bless the union. They slaughtered a goat, poured libations to the ancestors, and prayed for fertility, peace, and wealth for the couple. Nnenna was there, kneeling respectfully, but her heart raced. She looked at Obi, smiling and strong, and she felt a tear escape her eye. The elders thought it was a tear of joy, but inside she was trembling. Why do I feel like I know him beyond this life? Why does his face remind me of a love that was forbidden? She asked herself silently. The night before the wedding, the entire village gathered for the traditional Udochi, the night of celebration. Drums thundered, masquerades danced, and the fire roared high into the night. Young men wrestled to prove their strength. Women sang in chorus, praising the ancestors and the families of the bride and groom. The air was alive with joy. The elders sat under the great Iroko tree, pouring libations to the ancestors, breaking kola nut and blessing the union. One elder declared, "Today we unite two great families. Today we honor the ancestors who watch over us. May this marriage bring peace, wealth, and many children." Everyone clapped and cheered. Palm wine was passed around. Obi's family presented their gifts, and Nnenna's family received them with joy. The wedding was moving smoothly, but Nnenna's body trembled. Her lips shook, her hands grew cold. She knew the moment was near. According to custom, the bride was to take a calabash of palm wine, find her husband among the crowd, and give it to him as a sign of acceptance. The calabash was placed in Nnenna's hands. The drums beat loudly. The crowd cheered. "Find your husband! Give him the wine!" Nnenna walked slowly, her feet trembling. Her eyes searched the crowd. She saw Obi smiling proudly, waiting for her. But as she walked, the visions returned Obi as a baby, Obi crying for food, Obi calling her mother. Her steps grew heavy. When she finally reached Obi, her tears spilled. She stopped. The whole crowd grew silent. She raised the calabash, but her voice shook. "No, I cannot give him this wine." The drums stopped. The songs died. The crowd murmured in confusion. Obi stepped forward, confused. "Nnenna, what do you mean? This is our wedding. The whole village is here." Her voice trembled but grew stronger. "Obi, you are not just my husband-to-be. You were once my son." The crowd gasped. A loud murmur swept through the people. Elders shifted uneasily. Some women screamed. Children looked around in confusion. Obi froze. His smile disappeared. He laughed nervously. "Nnenna, stop this." It must be a joke, but Nnenna fell to her knees, tears streaming. "I speak the truth. Every night the ancestors show me visions. I carried you in my womb. I nursed you at my breast. I was your mother in another life. This marriage cannot happen." The crowd erupted. Some shouted in disbelief. Others cursed in anger. Others whispered in fear. One elder stood and shouted, "This is an abomination." Such words should not be spoken on a day of joy. But another elder shook his head. The ancestors speak in mysterious ways. If she truly saw these visions, we must not ignore them. Obi's family grew angry, demanding explanations. Nnenna's family wept in shame. Some accused her of lying to escape the marriage. Others feared she was cursed. But Nnenna raised her hands and cried, "I do not seek to shame my family or Obi's. I only speak what the spirits have shown me. To marry Obi is to break the law of the ancestors. I will not do it." Obi's eyes filled with tears. He looked at Nnenna with disbelief, pain, and anger. "How can this be? You were to be my wife, the mother of my children. And now you say you were once my mother? Nnenna, do you know what you have done to me? To us?" But Nnenna only wept harder. "Forgive me, Obi, but destiny has spoken. This marriage was never meant to be." The elders gathered under the Iroko tree, whispering, debating. After a long silence, the oldest among them stood and spoke with authority. "The ancestors have revealed themselves. Whether we believe or not, we must respect their warning. This marriage cannot continue. To ignore the spirits is to invite disaster upon the whole village. The people gasped. Families wept. The celebration ended in sorrow. As the sun set, the villagers dispersed in silence. Obi sat alone, his head buried in his hands. Nnenna locked herself in her hut, crying until her eyes were swollen. The once joyful day had turned into a day of shame, confusion, and fear. And so, the wedding was broken. But the story was not over, for the truth of Nnenna's visions was yet to be tested, and the path ahead held even darker mysteries. The wedding had ended in chaos. The laughter of children had turned to silence. The drums were no longer beating. The entire village was in confusion. But the story was far from over. For when the ancestors reveal a mystery, it must be tested. The next day, the village woke heavy with whispers. In every hut, people talked about the shameful wedding that had been stopped. Some said Nnenna was cursed, some said she was mad. Others feared she had spoken the truth. Mothers pulled their daughters close, warning them not to speak carelessly about dreams. Fathers shook their heads, blaming the gods for disturbing the peace. Children, too young to understand, only repeated Nnenna's words. He was my son. He was my son. Inside his hut, Obi had not eaten or drunk since yesterday. His heart was broken, his pride crushed. The woman he loved, the bride he had longed for, had humiliated him before the whole village. But deeper than his anger was fear. Her words echoed in his mind. You were my son. Each time he remembered, he shivered. He could not dismiss it. For there were moments when Nnenna's eyes, those caring, sorrowful eyes, looked at him exactly the way his late mother once had. No, it cannot be true, he cried, striking the floor with his fist. She cannot be my mother. She is supposed to be my wife. Meanwhile, Nnenna was locked inside her hut. She refused to eat, refused to see anyone. Her sisters pleaded with her. Nnenna, why did you destroy your marriage? Was Obi not good enough for you? But she only whispered, You do not understand. I saw it in dreams, in visions. If I had married him, the ancestors would have cursed us all. At night, she prayed to the spirits, asking them to take the visions away. But instead, the dreams grew stronger. She saw herself rocking a baby. She saw Obi calling her mama. She heard the cries of a child in the dark. The confusion became too great. The elders called a council under the great Iroko tree. One elder argued, This is madness. We must cleanse Nnenna. She has brought shame upon us. Another replied, No. We cannot punish her for speaking what the spirits showed her. What if she is right? Do we want to invite the anger of the gods? Finally, the oldest elder, Pa Okonkwo, spoke. The ancestors do not speak without reason. We must test this truth. If Nnenna lies, she shall be punished. But if she speaks the truth, then we must learn from it. The council agreed. A ritual would be held. 3 days later, the villagers gathered once more at the shrine of the ancestors. The air was tense. Obi and Nnenna were both summoned. The priest of the shrine, an old man with chalk markings on his face, stood before the crowd. He held a white cock in his hands and declared, The spirits see beyond what mortals see. Today, we call upon them to reveal the truth. If Nnenna speaks falsely, may the cock die in her hands. If she speaks truly, may the ancestors give us a sign. The cock was handed to Nnenna. She trembled but held it close. She closed her eyes and whispered, Ancestors, you know my heart. Reveal the truth. The cock did not struggle. It rested calmly in her hands as though asleep. The crowd gasped. The priest nodded slowly. The ancestors have spoken. She does not lie. A heavy silence fell. Obi fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. His heart broke, not from shame this time, but from truth. So it is real. She was my mother. The woman I wished to marry once gave me life. He looked at Nnenna, and in that moment, he saw her differently, not as a bride, but as something sacred. He whispered, "No wonder I always felt a strange comfort in your presence. No wonder my heart burned in confusion. It was the bond of blood, not of marriage." The oldest elder rose and declared, "This is a mystery too deep for us to fully understand. But one thing is clear. The ancestors prevented a great sin. The union of mother and son, even across lifetimes, is forbidden." He turned to the people. "Let this be a lesson. The ancestors still walk among us. They still guide us. We must never ignore their voice." The villagers bowed their heads. Fear and respect filled their hearts. After the ritual, Nnenna stood before the people. "I cannot stay here. My life is no longer my own. I have become a vessel of the ancestors. I must dedicate myself to serving them." And so, she chose to remain unmarried, devoting her life to the shrine as a priestess, guiding others with the wisdom of her visions. Obi, though heartbroken, found peace. He eventually married another woman, but he never forgot Nnenna. He respected her as one would respect a mother, not as a lost lover. Through her guidance, he became a wise leader in the village, often reminding others, "Not all unions are meant to be. Destiny chooses for us, and we must obey." And so, what began as a wedding of joy ended as a revelation of destiny. Nnenna was no ordinary bride, she was a messenger of the ancestors. Obi was no ordinary groom, he was a son tied to a mother across lifetimes. Their story became a warning, a lesson, a tale passed down through generations. For in the land of Nigeria, where the moonlight falls on the red earth, the ancestors still whisper to those who will listen. And their whispers shape the lives of the living,